Hey guys, I'm Scott Alexander. I am Atomic City. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, this video is designed for those of you who have the small discovery. This is going to show you how to put it together. It's for anyone to watch. It's a lot of fun. But the guys who have the small discovery really do need to know firsthand how to put it together. Fortunately, it's not difficult. I'm just going to say this. To start watching this video, you need to have all the parts unwrapped and sitting out on a nice clean surface, including the spine rod. This, of course, is the thing that everything hangs on. So, the first thing I want to talk about is module groups. That's what I call them. So for the purpose of this video, you guys can call them whatever you want. I call it a module group. Why? It has modules. They're in a group. Okay. The other thing to note is that each module group, there are 11 module groups. Let me repeat that. There are 11 module groups, numbered 1 through 11. Okay, 1 is at the front. And the way you know which way this thing faces is, first of all, you look for the end, it's got 2 ends, look for the end that has a little dot. And that dot indicates front, that is to say the forward facing portion, and it also indicates top. The way these module groups are designed is when they're all aligned properly, there's a valley that runs down the length of the ship, or you could say the bottom of the ship is flat. Either way, it does the same thing because it's all the same shape. So you have the dot, which is at the top, and it faces forward. But the other thing you have is inside the little hole here is a number written in pencil. In this case, it's number 1. So it's what is directly behind the command module. Okay, that's an awful lot of words to explain something very simple. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to assemble the spine. And it's not going to take very long. So I am going to start with number 7. The reason I'm starting with number 7 will become apparent very soon. In front of number 7 there are 6 of the 3-sided modules. Number 7 is the antenna module. It's 4-sided. Has this little slopey deal here, and that faces the rear of the ship. So I am putting that on first, and I don't know exactly where it goes. I'm going to move this for now. So, behind, or in front of, I should say, number 7 goes one of these things. This is what I call a spine module connector. That's what I call it. You guys can call it something else. So, anyway, we have here number 6. It goes on forward of number 7. Then we have another little thing. Pardon me. It's a spine module connector. Now, at the rear end of this piece, this is what the command module plugs onto. We have there's a spine connector here that is half the length of one of these. That's just the way they designed it. It's not my fault. But this piece is called the neck, and it goes on to the very front of the spine. Okay, now I'm going to do the other end here, and there's only 4 of them. I'm going to move this forward. There's only 4 of these guys that go on behind the antenna. Okay, there's number 11. Now, number 11, behind it has a regular length spine module connector. And then we have this item. This is the engine module, also known as the propulsion module, depending on how many big words you want to use, or long syllable words. Anyway, This thing this is the front of it, and the spine rod fits in here. And by the way, the ends of the spine are not painted, the spine rod. They're not painted because if they were to live inside this thing at the rear or the neck piece at the front, if they were to live there for years, the paint on the rod, if there was paint, might bond to this and make removal difficult. So I figure, hey, why put the paint on if you're not going to see it? Okay. So now I'm slipping. You guys can't see it because it's sort of, this thing isn't, I don't have enough room to be able to push the camera far back enough in order to show this thing full length in one shot. It's 5.5 feet long, for crying out loud. Okay, I just put the spine module, I just put the propulsion module on. And the one thing I forgot to mention while I had it in my hand here is that the metal rod goes in the front end and doesn't come out the rear end. What it does is it fits halfway into a hole that's in the center back there. And then these guys, the exhaust nozzles, get put into the rear of the engine compartment, but the center one here, you will notice, is short. That's because there's no room. So, because the spine rod is sticking in there. Okay, I'm going to leave that off for now. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this on the stands, because that's the next step. Here we have a stand. It's a black sort of monolithy shape, shall we say, and a brass rod 9 inches long. And what you can't see because it's off camera is I am lifting the propulsion module and I am putting the tip of the rod into the hole that is made specifically for that purpose. It's very difficult to do without my glasses. So, there it goes. Okay, that wasn't a click that you heard. That was metal meeting metal, because the top of this brass rod actually rests against the spine rod inside the part. So, I'm lifting the front. You can see this one. And I'm finding the hole. Oh, there it is. Finding the hole. Here it goes. Hear that? Okay. So, now we have most of the ship put together. And I can't get it all in a shot. Sorry. But the thing is that you're going to have to rotate all these things into position. The only one that should be glued in position is number 7, the antenna module. And that should be done with white glue and not much of it. In fact, a very tiny amount. Because you don't want this one to rotate because the antenna is sitting on it. And the antenna, which is right here, the antenna itself has a little spud that fits in a little hole, and that should be attached with white glue as well, and not much of it. Because you're not trying to glue it in place, you're just trying to get it to sit there so that if something happens it doesn't flop off. So a little bit of white glue does the trick, and the nice thing about white glue is that if you haven't used a lot of it, you can break the bond loose without hurting anything. Okay, so now we orient these guys, and there is a chart that comes with the model that tells you what I'm doing here. Excuse me. And I would go into it now, but because you can't really see what's going on here, because this is just too far away, just follow the chart. The chart is oriented to one side of the model, and that's this side, with the head of the model to the right. And then all of these things get rotated and positioned so that they reflect the positioning that's in the film. You can put these up any way you want, but if you want to be accurate to the film, that is very doable. Okay, now I'm going to slide this down and around because what I want to do is I want to talk about the command module. So I'm just going to aim this away. Okay, here's the command module. Everybody loves the command module because that's the business end of the ship. Command module, the number of features here. The command module contains its own power. It's got batteries in it, and they are accessed from this hole here. In fact, I can pull, these are 2 battery clips that I don't have batteries on right now, and this is the 3rd one that does have a battery on it for the demonstration here. The only reason you might want to put 3 on here is because then that means you're not going to change the batteries for a really long time. 1 will do the trick, absolutely, but you've got 3, so what the heck. Anyway, they just tuck up in here in the empty space that's inside the command module. So those are tucked away. Now, the bottom, right there, there's a switch. And when the switch turns on, that's when the magic happens. Here it comes. Okay, what you're seeing here is flight deck has lighting and the pod bay has lighting, and that real bright thing in the middle there is actually the pod that's in the center door. Uh-oh. It's in the center door here, and it has its headlights lit up. And trust me, it's a son of a gun to get them to do that. So, anyway, that's what the big attraction is for this model, aside from the fact that it's the Discovery is that it's all lit up. And to put this on this, all you have to do is give it a little tilt, as you see there, and then give it, and you put this part here into here, and then you give it a little twist, and everything locks up, and there it is. So, okay, this took maybe 15, possibly 20. I won't know until I've looked at the tape. But this is now fully assembled. It's true, I don't have the exhaust nozzles in place, but there's just 5 seconds. And the same thing with the antenna. So the antenna array, shall I say. And by the way, a little clarification for those of you who are laboring under the misconception that this thing is the AE35 unit. That's not true. The AE35 unit is the little box he took out of the back side of this thing. This is simply the antenna array. And it sits here. And I'm not going to face it properly because it takes too much time. So anyway, this is it. That's how simple it is to put this thing together. I'm going to take this antenna off just in case, because this table's a little shaky. You may not have noticed it, but I noticed it. And I'm going to turn the lighting off to save the batteries. Okay, this is how the small Discovery goes together. I think it's pretty plain, and I'll bet it's a lot simpler than you guys thought it would be. So, that being the case, it's time for me to sign off. So, I will have another instructional video for the Aries 1B, the big one, the 15-inch Aries, coming up in about a week. So, anyway, see you guys later, and I hope you've had fun.